All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It is Thursday, Thirsty Thursday. For those of you who are thirsty, it is Thursday. And as if you didn't need another excuse to go out for a cold one tonight, St. Patrick's Day. So what are we talking about? First and foremost, late night last night, Mr. Paul Chabot, thank you for inviting me to go out to see Joe Bonamassa. I had to look him up. He said, Mark, we got to see this guy. He's supposed to be a big deal. Has a few Grammys. Supposed to be a incredible guitar player. So let's go check it out. So that's what we did. We went and saw him at the Bushnell in Hartford. And what a surprise. First of all, place was 3/4 full. So there were a lot of fans there. And he had a large band with him. His keyboardist played with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Backup singers were awesome, and he played an interesting guy. He's from Utica, New York. Familiar with it myself. And like every song came on, first of all, it was like sounded a little bit like a different band. Like they're like, oh, this one sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan, that sounds like Robert Cray. So yeah, a lot of blues, electric guitar, but even more than that, there were some Stray Cats in there. There was a little bit of everything. Just maybe some southern rock that we would feel we heard in there. And anyway, it was just interesting. Every song just had like a 3 to 7 minute guitar solo where he would just shred his guitar. You go to a concert and there'd be one guitar solo that everyone would applaud at. This guy just does that every song. And if that's your thing, it's like, holy cow, this guy can really wail on that guitar. But it was good. It was interesting. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Well, it is St. Patrick's Day, and last year I threw some stuff at you, and we're going to talk today. I had a lot of choices for today, obviously, but first and foremost, you come up with bands like Floggin' Molly, Dropkick Murphys, and I don't know a lot about that music, so I toyed with it here and there as far as that's concerned, but really I thought, well, it's been a while since we did a make or remake or present a bunch of different versions of one song. And when you look up songs, rock songs, or just songs in general for St. Patrick's Day, the same song keeps popping up over and over again, and that is what we're talking about today. The song is Whiskey in the Jar. So many good versions of this song, so many famous versions too, but it's a traditional Irish song. It's this folk song that they don't know the origins of. They try to trace it back, and they got back to like 1728, where pieces of it are found and that kind of thing. So it's just passed through generations. But it's about this highwayman who robs a government official and is betrayed by a woman. It could be his wife, could be his girlfriend. It's unclear. The reason why it's unclear is because the lyrics change over and over again, depending on who's singing it and what version you hear. All kinds of things change. There's all kinds of towns from Ireland listed in there. And the names of the girlfriend or wife change. Sometimes it's Molly, sometimes it's Jenny, sometimes it's Emsy or Ginny. The details of the betrayal change up. Basically a lot of stuff changes around, depending on the version you hear. When it came to United States, it was popular because they kind of viewed it as an anti-government, overseas government anthem. So that's kind of where it picked up there. But who made it famous first? It was the Dubliners. The Dubliners in the 1960s. They put on like 3 of their records, and it was that's when it became popular. Pretty much everywhere. But then the Highwaymen out of Wesleyan here in Connecticut. That was collegiate folk. It's not the Highwaymen that you might be thinking of. Put it out on a record in 1962, and that's the one that actually got more popular in the United States. And then the Dubliners re-recorded it with the Pogues. We could talk about the Pogues, right? But that was a brilliant rock version in 1990, so we'll post that below. Thin Lizzy, in between that, of course, they made it famous in 1973. They hit the charts with it, and that's the one that maybe most people are familiar with if you're a rock and roll fan, because that one was a big deal. Thin Lizzy, of course, Irish band. They did a nice job with that. And then, 1998, Metallica put out Garage Inc. If you remember, they had a CD that was called Garage Days Revisited. Actually, it was a record in a cassette, of course. But, you know, when stuff went out of print, they punched that little hole in things. Remember, you go to the record store, you'd see ones with a little hole punched in the corner, meaning that you couldn't buy it. It wasn't being released anymore. Usually it wasn't necessarily something very interesting. But when Metallica got big, people were searching all over for that, and the value went up and up in the used market. But they put it out, they re-released it, and then added a bunch of tracks on there, like Turn the Page, did all kinds of covers. But their version, of course, is very much like Metallica. And they won a Grammy for that one, a Best Hard Rock Performance in 1998 for Whiskey in the Jar. And then randomly, Bryan Adams did it in 2019. But there are dozens and dozens of recordings of this song literally through the years. So you can file through and you can find Jerry Garcia does it. I mean, it's huge. So anyway, we're going to post a bunch of those below. You know, my favorite's probably Metallica's, but that's just me. That one with the Dubliners with the Pogues is interesting. And of course, and Thin Lizzy. See, look, I'm all over the place. Anyway, it's interesting to see who did what with this song. So that's what you're going to listen to for St. Patrick's Day today. A little whiskey in the jar. And maybe some of you will have some whiskey in the jar later tonight. Whatever you're doing, I hope it involves music as we roll into the weekend. Looking forward to Octane Friday tomorrow and the weekend. So have a good one, whatever you're doing, like I said. And as usual, we'll catch you on the flip side.
The devil, he may take ya.